Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It's Crystal here. I'm just here because I wanted to make a video for you on how to analyze the Boston dataset in Excel. So I've used the Boston dataset quite a bit in Python, but a lot of companies won't allow workers to use Python, especially if they're in administrative capacity or something like that. So it's good to know how to perform an analysis using Excel because most companies have Excel on their machines. So basically, I've used the Boston dataset, the Boston house price dataset, and it used to be on sklearn library website, but they've taken it off the sklearn library website because it's not very politically correct. It was designed around the 1980s, so it's over 40 years old. So the prices and everything are going to be quite dated, but it's still a good data set because it has all of this information in it that you can study. So I took the data set because you don't really see it that much anymore since it's not politically correct. The reason why it's not politically correct is because it makes reference to black people, and that's not very woke. And so they've just taken it off the sklearn data set, and they've taken it off a lot of the sklearn library, and they've taken it off a lot of websites. But when I do my analysis, I'm not going to make reference to that, so I'm not going to make any comments about that in my analysis. So that's how I'm getting around using a website that's not very politically correct. So the first thing that are using a data set that's not very politically correct. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll talk about the columns of data. So it says CRIM is per capita crime rate by town, ZN is zoning, INDUS is the proportion of non-retail businesses, CHAZ is Charles River Dummy Variable, NOx is nitric oxide concentration, rooms is the average number of rooms per dwelling, age is the proportion of owner-occupied units built prior to 1940. The distance is the weighted distance to 5 Boston employment centers. RAID is the index of accessibility to radial highways. Tax is the full value tax rate per $10,000. And PT ratio is a pupil to teacher ratio. B is the number of blacks, but we won't be going into that in this analysis. LSTAT is the percentage of lower status of the population. So that's like poor people, how many poor people you've got. And MEDV is the median value in thousands. And so since this data set is old, the prices of the houses, the value of the houses is going to be about 45 years old. So that's it for the columns of data. One thing that I noticed whenever I was working on this data set, it doesn't mention towns. Excuse me. Excuse me. So it doesn't mention towns. So what I did was I created an extra column called index, and I indexed it from 1 to, I believe it was 506 or 507. And then I put that next to the MEDV, that's the median value, and then I ranked the median value as well. So all of the values are in a ranking. So you can see, so I don't know why they didn't put the towns in the data set, and so why they didn't put the towns in the data set, because the reason why is when I do the analysis, I had to answer a series of questions in the analysis, And one of the questions that I had to answer was to do with towns. And that's why I had to put an index in there, because I didn't know the names of the towns. So I just gave the index a number, and the index will refer to the towns. So that's what we did. So we're going to do the analysis now. These are some questions that I was given with regard to this data set. Number one, what is the correlation between the number of rooms and the median value? And so what we do is we use the choral function, and then so you take the F2 to F507, that's the number of rings, and then the median value is O2 to O507, and we put that into the choral function, and you'll say that the correlation between the number of rooms and the median value is 0.69 or 0.70 if you round it. And so that's telling you that it's a high correlation between the number of rooms and the values. So the next correlation that we have is, what is the highest correlation with median value of home? So I wasn't sure exactly what they were asking for. So what I had to do was I had to perform a correlation of all of the columns of data and correlate that to the median value. And then when I provided a correlation to all of the columns of data and correlated that to the median value using the choral function, what I did was after I did that, I used the rank function and I ranked those values. And whenever I ranked those values, the room was the highest correlation. So that's telling you your highest correlation. And the LSTAT, that's the lower status, was the lowest correlation. The next question is, what is the average age of the home? So we use the average over Boston data G2 to G507. Let's look at that. Yep. So the average age is 68.57. And they ask you, what is the distribution of the pupil-teacher ratio? So they're asking you for a distribution. So what I did was I made a graph of the pupil-teacher ratio, and so you can see the distribution right here. I made a histogram, and so you can see the distribution. You can see that it is somewhat left skewed. And then now we've got, what is the highest median value of homes? And so how you do the highest median value of homes is you use the max function, and the highest median value of homes is 50. But what I wanted to do was I did another graph and I put a scatter plot on it. So you can see when we run the scatter plot, you can see that there are quite a few homes that are at 50. And so that's the highest median value. You also could have chosen the lowest median value if you wanted to. So we just say 6. And then so you just take this so the lowest median value is 5. So you've got the highest median value and the lowest median value. And here's a scatter plot of the median value, where you can see the highest median value and the lowest median value and all of the other median values in between. So I didn't really do that yet. I just said which town has the highest median value of homes, and what you would do, we'll just say what is the. So it's impossible to answer the question which town has the highest median value of homes, because there are quite a few towns that have the value of 50. So it's impossible to answer that question. But what I did was I ranked the median values. And then so all of the median values that were number one would be the highest, would be the town with the highest median value. So you see here we've got like town 162, 163, and 164 that have the highest median value. But the thing is that they don't give you the towns in the data set, so you've got no way of knowing, which is why I indexed it. And so I just said indexed it 1 to 506, I believe it is. So that's how you can get the town with the highest median value, is to rank it. So that pretty much concludes our analysis. We can't answer the question which town has the highest median value, because there's quite a few towns that have 50. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video, because we've talked about everything that we want to talk about. We've talked about the Boston house price data set, and we analyzed it using some questions that I had to actually perform an analysis. So if you like my video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that I have given you some good information to help you analyze the Boston house price data set, and I will be making another video about the Boston house price data set very soon.